Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Lei Tai project. Bienvenidos a Lei Tai project. This is gonna be a really fun episode. I have one of the best guys in the USA in Sanda, my friend, mi amigo, my brother, mi hermano, Cory Johnson. He's just before Cory is one of the actually one of the former athletes from the Sanda team. He's training with Coach Lee, the USA team coach. He's been training for 17 years, and he's been with the national team like more than he won 10 nationals. He participated in several internationals, Pan American, two World Games, and China versus USA. Guys, this is gonna be a really good podcast. And well, I'm going to speak a little bit Spanish so many people from Latin America can understand something. So it's gonna be more in English, but I'll do my best to translate the main things. Cory, this is all yours. This is your podcast. First of all, thank you, brother. Thank you for giving me the chance to go into your life.
No, muchas gracias para usted. Es Cory el guapo el rey.
El jefe.
El jefe. I like to be like Vicente Fernandez whenever possible.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Like, so, how you feel, man? Like, how's everything right now? Can you tell us about the story of your life when you
Yeah.
started in Sanda?
I think I met Coach Lee when I was like 18 or 17. I just graduated high school and I was pretty crazy. I didn't really have like anything going for myself, I was just doing stupid stuff and I was just crazy, man. And then for whatever reason, I ended up falling in with Coach Lee. He's kind of like my dad. He's definitely an influential figure in my life, probably the most influential figure, because without him, man, I wouldn't be able to do anything that I've done. So like I started training, and at the time he didn't have a gym. So we were just training and fighting overseas. So the training was a lot different, right? Like you know this as well. Like it's a lot. You have to when you're just training athletes, it's a lot different than when you're training for a school, for a business. Yeah. So not necessarily that it's harder. It's just it's harder. It's a lot crazier. They don't really care, like the idea of if you're having fun or not isn't really important. It's about like you have this work you got to do to get good because somebody's gonna try to beat you up. Mm-hmm. So I did that, man. I did MMA. I did 3 MMA fights. So I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 21 or 2 maybe, and I did 3 of those. I never was really big into MMA that much. Like I enjoy the sport a lot. But at the time, man, it's funny because it's changed so much. But at the time, man, I just had all these opportunities to travel instead. And so it was like I can go fight, in some terrible location in Odessa, Texas, and have people throw beer bottles at me, or I can go overseas and fight in Beijing or something. So I was a lot more interested in traveling. But the fighting itself was just more for me personally, not really, to be great, just what I could do. Just to test myself, really. And then I got a black belt in jiu-jitsu last year. I won Nogi Worlds in jiu-jitsu. I've won nationals like 10. Every time I've done it, I've won nationals, I think. So it's like 10 or 11 times. I fought in like USA versus China fights. I did worlds once. I blew out my knee twice. That kept me out of 2 worlds. But I always had to juggle having a full-time job and training full-time. So that really put a hamper on me being able to fight as much as I'd like. Other than that, man, so now I've like transitioned more into coaching. So I teach jiu-jitsu mainly, and Sanda, Coach Lee and Bruce take up most of those classes, but I bounce over there during the week and help too. So like I do both still, but I'm primarily responsible for the jiu-jitsu program at our gym. Other than that, man, they're trying to get me to do worlds next year, in Dallas. So it's here. So I haven't decided. I told myself, my knee's still messed up. I actually have a torn ACL now. So I'm just kind of like, well, I'll get in shape this year in December and January and see how I feel, and I'll make that decision then. So that's what I'm doing, man.
Man, like you have a great story. like your the history in your in sport. Like actually, yes, I'm sorry, I forgot about like you won the world games in jiu-jitsu also, and
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
who cares?
yeah, and tell me, yeah, I care. And tell me what are your like what are your thoughts when you start doing this sport? Because there's a lot of people, they always asking themselves because the opportunities we have in U.S. than we have in Mexico or another like Argentina, Chile, Brazil right now. Sometimes it's very hard, because of the culture, and many people is like, okay, I need to train this, because I want to change my life and I want to participate for the country, I want to represent my country. How is this for you, man? Like how when like how was the first time when the USA team, they call you to
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably the wrong person to ask, Edgar, because man, for me, everything I've ever done, I kind of felt like for me, fighting was always like anytime I won, I didn't feel that happy about it because you're supposed to win. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't ever. I'm probably the wrong guy. I'm kind of a little, I don't really take much pride in anything I've ever accomplished. I don't mean that to sound uh humble, but it's true. Like I don't take much pride in any of the goals I've accomplished, but um I am proud of like how hard I had to work to do it, you know. I think like, and then the difference is like you were saying between us and other countries is like from probably the majority of the countries that compete in Sanda, they're purely professional, man. I mean, I was telling somebody today, I think I found out the other day that like Iran's team, their Iranian Sanda team is bigger. It's their biggest sport, bigger than boxing, bigger than wrestling. Like wrestling's huge for them, Olympic wrestling, freestyle wrestling. And so like I heard the other day that now Iran gives more money to Sanda, their Sanda program, than they do any other athletic program. So like
Wow.
so these guys are living off of a monthly salary that the government pays them, and then they get bonuses for when they win. So I was telling somebody the other day, it's like if I fought in Worlds in November next year in Dallas, if I fight in the finals and I win, I come home and everybody's like, what sport do you do? Sanda? Oh, is that like karate? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like karate. But for them, they go home and they got $500,000 American dollars waiting. Like it's just different, man. And the truth is like I've kind of figured out that I think for Americans, there's a longer learning curve. You know what I mean? Like Alex Sisney, right? Like he's the
Oh
most
yeah.
decorated guy in our sport from the US. But
Yes.
Alex started winning when he was 35. And I think for us, I think for Americans and probably Mexicans, I don't think they get much support either. But like,
Yeah. Yeah, when I
they get
was I'm sorry.
I'm familiar with some of the problems they have. But like but for us, it's like I think like right now, I feel like I'm better now than I've ever been, even though I'm old and beat up. But it's because the experience curve probably takes unless you can fight, you just can't fight as much here, man. You just can't get enough fights. And then if you want to, you're gonna have to branch off into MMA. You have to branch off into some goofy kickboxing fights if you can find them. And so that kind of leaves you just at a disadvantage. So like in China, these guys are starting when they're 14, 13, 12, and they're retiring when they're 21. As soon as
Yeah.
these guys are winning a big fight, they're done. They're retiring because they don't like it. They don't want to fight, but it's the only way they can make money. But for Americans, they fight because they love it. But the commitment they have to make, man, like, this is like, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to have you're going to have a job that allows you to do what you want. You're going to have to train on top of that. You're going to have to eat right. You're going to have to be hurt. You're going to have to watch your friends go out and party, watch your friends go off to college and make more money than you. And then our culture puts a lot of pressure on these kids. Like, you're 18. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to go to school. You're going to go to work. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So like, you're already kind of at a disadvantage because like the culture itself is working against you. So like you take the guys who are usually, on the team, you have like me, Livingston, like the older guys, me, Livingston, Alex, like, but we kind of got lucky to where we have jobs. Alex does his gym full time. Livingston and I work at a gym, but we also have full-time jobs. So it allows us to it allows us to at least be there. You know what I mean? Because like you can be there, 5 or 6, like for me, I'm there 5 nights a week now. So that helps. But man, when you're that guy who's, it's like I tell coach all the time, because he's from that Chinese environment, right? And I have to tell him all the time, like, coach, like these guys, if a guy in America wants to do this, he has to want it for himself. Like you and I as coaches, we can help them and invest in them as much as possible. But like Rodrigo at your gym, right?
Yeah.
Like Rod's got to figure out his own stuff, man. He's going to have to take care of his life. He's going to have to, maybe his parents are cool and they want to support him, and that's great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but most of them aren't like that. So most of them, it's like, yo, get a job, work all the time, train all the time, get hurt, train on top of that, go to work hurt, watch what you eat, stay on a diet, go fight. Shit, man, there were times I would go and do an MMA fight and literally have to be at work at 3 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah. And you know what? Something that I really I realized is as a former athlete also, when I was with the Mexico team, I was actually like, I had a full-time job, study in the school, as you said, and then like training 4 or 5 hours a day before I had my gym, in US. And then everything changed, and I think the key word here is like, if you really like want to sacrifice a lot of that to do this, because in prior in prior podcasts that I have with like Anael from Argentina, or from Brazil, Lucas Sorin, we were talking about that. Like Sorin from Brazil, he said like, man, here in Brazil, like my city support me because I'm a champion, and we open a school for the kids, and the government is helping me. But it's a different world. Argentina is the same. Like, it's like my father always told me, like, man, why you always go to China? You're paying to kick your ass, like, and like, man, Dad, I love this. Like, it's my passion. I love this. And I don't have words to tell you what I feel when I'm there, or when I'm with with the USA team or Mexico team, whatever. But you're saying something like really, really, which is at the same, is a little bit painful, because we do our best, but we need to invest. Like now you're a father, you have your wife, your beautiful kids. I'm in the same spot than you. I have 2 kids, a beautiful wife, a business, a gym, and sometimes it's like, it's only the motivation to tell like, hey, I want to do this again. But if like, do you really have that time? Like,
it has to monopolize your life.
Yeah. Sport is very jealous, and about, yes, about, you talk about Rod, one of my students, and you have a lot of like Evan and good, like a really good guy, and yeah, they're different generation, now. Like, I think he's in the university. Rod is 17 right now. He going to graduate next year from high school. Maybe he going to San Antonio study. I don't know, but he's really committed to this sport. But we, as a coaches, how can we motivate him? Like,
I think this is something that like we've had to learn how to juggle the last 10 years,
Yeah.
And like I think we've been open at the gym for 15 years. So like, I think like for us, what I think works the best, man, is that you have to, first and foremost, you have to provide an atmosphere in the gym that's fun, challenging. There's a lot of camaraderie, and you have to be very I want to say picky. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be very strict on how you do that, because you can change it and it can screw things up. But the truth is, man, is like, all you can do is like inspire. I tell the guys this a lot, like, and I don't think it's bad advice. Maybe somebody would be like, Cory, you're full of shit. Like, you shouldn't say that. Like, I tell those dudes, like, man, you're 22 years old, bro. Like, your life doesn't have to be decided today, like, and I think the biggest problem in American culture is that there's no, even Mexico has it, right? Like, you have girls that have quinceañeras and stuff, or you have boys that kind of have the same kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
there's no rite of passage for Americans. Like, there's not some moment that people say you're a man now, or that responsibilities change. But like, I think the biggest thing I try to tell those dudes is like, bro, you're 22 years old. Maybe you're in school and you don't really, I see this a lot with those guys. They get to where they're like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm going to school. I don't know what my major is going to be really. I don't know what I'm going to do for a living. I don't know what I'm going to do for money. And it's like, yo, chill out. First of all, you're 22. Go live an adventure, man. Go get a job, train, fight, travel, do something like that that's very difficult. Go do something, go have an adventure, go to another place, fight someone in another place, and live life. Like, there's a lyric to a song that I like, and he says that you owe yourself life. Like, you owe yourself life. Go have an adventure, man. And the other deal is, when you're that stressed out and you're that, oh, what am I going to do? Am I going to graduate college? Or I don't know what major I'm going to do. It's like, yo, first of all, you're probably not in the right frame of mind to make a decision that affects the rest of your life, right? Maybe a lot of times the best thing you can do, bro, is step back, find something that you can invest in yourself, like invest in your training, invest in yourself, go on this adventure, live an experience that no one knows, right? Like the number of people who have gone up and trained their ass off to, like, let's break it down. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you to train your ass off. Let's forget having a job, right? Like all that shit. Forget having a job. I'm gonna ask you to train your ass off. Be tough. Train through injury. Train through pain. Become used to the idea that, like, yo, you have this moment that's rapidly coming up, right? To where you either put up or shut up. You win because you did what it took, or you lost because you didn't. And there's nobody, not me, not God, nobody that can cover you for that, right? Like, you have to take pure 100% accountability and responsibility for this moment, right? And if you come up short, that's okay. Look how far you came even to come up short, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing else in their life. No, now I need you to go to this place, get on this stage, this boxing ring, sander ring, whatever, cage. Now I need you to get in there with this other person who's been training just as long, just for that moment to beat your ass. And you got to go in there and you have to measure yourself against another human being and see if you're able to do it. You have to be calm enough. You have to be able to be calm and listen. You have to not let fight or flight mode get into your brain and you lose your mind. You have to be able to be calm, listen. You have to stare that fear in the face and back and be like, well, I'm here. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to do the best I can. And if I come up short, I come up short. But I'm not going to let fear, pressure, what other people think, my parents telling me I'm dumb for doing this, I'm going to do that. Because I've been told the same shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do that. Guys, nobody in the world does this. And so if you do this and you can do that, oh man, what do you want to do now, Rod? You want to go to college? Okay, go to college. What are they going to make you do? I have to read and study. Okay, read and study. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like getting your ass kicked. It's not like training hurt. It's not like going to work 40 hours a week and then training 25 hours a week on top of that. You know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes I have to tell those dudes, like, yo, your life is not like, your life hasn't even started at 22, bro. Like, go live an adventure, have an experience that you can tell your grandkids, because it will fundamentally change who you are. And that will allow you to be successful in everything else, because it's a measuring stick for your life. Like, yeah, Cory fought for till I was 30. I blew out my knee twice, and I was like, well, shit, I guess I better go back to school. I got 2 degrees in 3 years, and now I'm in grad school, and I'll finish that next year. So I'll have a master's, an associate's, a bachelor's, and a master's degree in about 4 years, 4.5 years. And I don't mean this to sound arrogant, but like, every goal that I've set for myself in my personal life, I've accomplished. Now, I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I work 40 hours a week plus 20 hours a week at another job. Like, and I'm going to school full time. And it's like, it seems like a lot, and it is, but it ain't like getting beat up.
Yeah, and I got you, man, because I remember a few years ago when I finished my second master's. Damn, man, I was a bomb. I was so stupid, like training, working, studied 2 masters. I just finished the first one, then I go for the second one. It was like the most stupid thing I did. And I remember, you know, my I had a really bad luck in competition in Southern US, you know, because of, yeah, you say like, man, you're training, you're studying, you're a coach, you're training your students, you need to run your business, you need to do this, you need, and at the last time is like, what time I have to train, you know, and yeah, that happens, you know, and more like when you're training by yourself, like who's telling you your mistakes? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And at the end, you love this. At the end, you love this, and okay, I'm going there. I don't care if I lose, if I win. It's because I love this. I want it, and it's like I'm fighting against my demon, something like that.
Yeah,
And
everybody, it like what you did and what I do, like
yeah,
I make it sound like we can do it, and we can, but
yeah,
not forever.
of course,
Everything has an expiration date, you know. But it's like, yeah, man, I tell those dudes like, you gotta, you know, do something special, bro. Go be different. You know what I mean? Like, oh wow, you went to school and you got an engineering degree, and guess what? You're an engineer at 25. Now, guess what? You'll be an engineer till you're 65.
yeah,
Does it really matter? Does it really matter if you started at 25 or 35?
yeah,
When you're 80 years old, and it's hard for people to get over that cultural pressure of, you got to make money, you got to go do this, you got to do that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just something we have to deal with. I mean,
yeah.
so I
Well,
don't.
I'm sorry. I'm going to translate a little bit in Spanish. ¿Es okay?
Okay, yeah, go.
Yeah. Prácticamente lo que estamos hablando, Cory y yo, es que Cory es muy guapo.
Sí, yo sé.
y, y que pues la cultura en Estados Unidos también es muy difícil, porque muchas personas en Latinoamérica piensan que, oh, estás en Estados Unidos, tienes todas las oportunidades. Tal vez sí las tendrás, pero también hay un secreto que, bueno, no es un secreto, pero es el tener que trabajar duro, tener que estudiar, tener que trabajar, tener que entrenar. Y nuestra cultura también no nos permite, como muchos países de América, no permite que nosotros tengamos el suficiente dinero para pagar nuestros viajes a unos World Games o Pan American Games. Entonces, Cory prácticamente lo que está diciendo es de que, o sea, eres joven, vive tu vida, practica, vas a ir a la escuela, vas a estudiar, te vas a graduar, pero si realmente quieres hacer esto, tienes que sacrificar. Entonces, a muchos de nuestros amigos que nos están ahorita escuchando por YouTube, viendo por YouTube o escuchando por Spotify, lo que les quiero tratar de decir es que Cory es una persona con mucha experiencia, con una experiencia también como atleta y como coach, y que hoy en día ha tenido muchos eventos que ha ganado. Y lo que él está diciendo es cómo él llegó a este punto y cómo él hasta ahora ha peleado ahora, por ejemplo, tener un trabajo de 40 horas, estar estudiando una maestría, otro trabajo de 20 horas como coach, ser padre de familia, tener 2 hijos, una esposa. Entonces no es fácil. Okay, back to you, brother. So how do you deal with your surgery? Because like this year I was training very hard, and then I had a surgery. They removed a tumor in my head,
Right, I
and
remember.
you know it was depressed me because for 8 months can't do nothing, you know, and it was really sad. In nationals, when I was there with you, it was like, man, I could do it like just for a bit, for a week, maybe I don't know, how to say, but my goal was to compete this year, you know, for the PANAMS and whatever. But man, God has different plans, man, and yeah, I'm 37, you're 35, and how you deal with the surgery in your knee, because you said twice, right?
Yeah, I've had two of them, and now I tore it again. But I've
Jeez.
been able to like train with it this time in a way that it's not too bad. So I think I'm gonna be okay. I probably won't get it fixed again. I think like for when I blew out mine the first time, there was this real question I had. I mean, I can't really say it didn't happen because it happened. Because like like I don't look at myself as like I don't tell people like I don't tell my I'm a fighter, like I don't say shit
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay.
so like for me, I don't really feel like it's who I was, but when it happened, it was like when I remember when they told me I was gonna have to have surgery and I blew out my knee and stuff, it was like they're like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do anything for about at least 12 months. And I was like, I remember just being left with like, what the hell am I gonna do now that I can't do this? And I realized like there was this not like a hole that I had to fill, you know, but there definitely was. I think there was definitely a lot of I had to pursue something,
Yeah.
like I think now my biggest thing is like when you Musashi, the Japanese samurai, wrote a book after having like 56 duels. He said something. He said, in his book, he said, if you understand the way, you see it in all things broadly, which I think that pretty much means it's like you have to be constantly learning. And if you're not learning and you're not improving in something, then you're not really doing anything,
Yeah.
which is quite true, really. I mean,
Yeah.
like, so like for me, I just had this extra hole in me that I had to fill with something. And that's when I went back to school. Now, after my first knee surgery, I fought 4 months later, which is retarded because I'm not supposed to fight for 12 months. And I blew it out again because I was trying to go to Russia. So I won nationals, but I couldn't go to Russia, man. My knee wouldn't work. I mean, it just didn't work, man. It wasn't going to happen. And so I just went to school. But like that part is really personal. Yeah. You have to figure out, it's hard. Like for me personally, I don't know how I could tell people to get over it. But like for me, it was just, I went from, well, I can't do this anymore. And if I'm not doing that, then what am I doing? Like I've
Yeah.
spent so much time just doing this. And so it was like, shit, I'm just going to go back to school, man.
Wait, how is in any
Pause it
in,
1 second, bro. This kid's about to kill himself. One
yeah,
second, Ed. I'm
yeah, of
sorry.
course, of course. Yeah. Pues aquí lo que estamos haciendo es, estamos hablando de que pues él tuvo una cirugía de rodilla en la cual estuvo meses sin entrenar, pero aún así él peleó después de 4 meses, se ha lastimado la rodilla 2 veces, pero aquí yo creo que entra la resiliencia de cada atleta, la resiliencia de decir, puedo hacerlo, no puedo hacerlo, si lo hago, ¿cómo lo voy a hacer? Creo que eso es algo muy importante de cada atleta porque la mentalidad es la psicología, que lo hemos estado hablando mucho en los podcasts anteriores, es el secreto realmente. Yo pienso que no importa el ganar o perder, creo que al momento de subirte a pelear a un Lei Tai o un ring, cualquier cosa, sabiendo que traes algo atrás de ti, demonios atrás de ti, cualquier cosa, pero el hecho de ir, subirte y bajarte de ahí, sentirte bien, creo que es algo único, porque realmente eso es lo que hace al guerrero. Y Cory aquí lo que nos dice es cómo él lidió con todo eso y cómo él salió adelante para poder seguir siendo lo que es. Y yo lo conozco y somos del mismo equipo y me da mucho gusto tener un amigo como él porque realmente he aprendido mucho de él. Is everything okay, bro?
Yeah. I'm in my in-laws, right? So like
It's fine.
we killed a pig, so now we're cooking the chicharrones, senor.
Woo!
And then I looked over, man, and one of Daisy's little cousins about to go in. He's like 2 years old. He's about to run into the horse corral.
Oh man, no, it's
So
fine.
yeah, I was like, no, so I had to go get him. So
Nah, it's
but
okay,
yeah.
bro. So I was talking to like in Spanish. I was translating some of the things you just said, and I think the one of the things that you're talking about is like the resilience.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the key word for you right now because resilience is what, like, if I didn't know you and then like I'm listening to your story and it's like, damn man, this guy really, like, I think Sanda maybe is not professional, but we train as professionals. Like, we are professionals because we train 4 hours a day. We kill ourselves in the sauna or diet on this and that, blah blah blah. we have a job, and instead of that, we have another 4 hours a day to train, even Monday through Saturday. So, man, that's resilience for you, man. How do you deal with that?
Okay, so like I think like okay, resiliency is basically it's the same as discipline, right? Well, what is like, and I tell the guy everything I'm telling you, I tell the dudes at the gym. Like, what is discipline? Well, all discipline is being really good at something, or is being good at doing something you don't like doing. Because if it's easy and you do it all the time, it's not discipline. You love it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in training, bro, you're not gonna love it forever, right? But it goes back. So like and I think this is where I've learned a lot with like my daughter, she's 7. So now she trains, her and Mason, like Coach Lee's son.
Yeah.
So they train every day from 4:30 to 5:30 is their class. They do jiu-jitsu and they do sanda. Then they train from 4:30 to about 7:30, just kind of like with Coach or with Coach Lee or with me. So like we take turns with days, and like what they'll do is they'll, we don't train them like, they'll come in like, hey, here's a position. Like in jiu-jitsu, I'll show them something, drill it. And then I'll walk off, I'll come back. So, and then I'll give them a 15-minute break. They come back and drill for another 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So like, they're not training 3 hours straight, but like, they're getting to train, go play, train, go play, train, go play. But they do a lot, man. I've learned that, and this is what I think the problem is. So resiliency, like you said, is, and this is what I say about the kids, is what we do in martial arts, or at least in my personal opinion of what we should be doing, is making kids resilient. Because the truth is, man, it's like we live in a culture now, especially in America. I think Brazil and Mexico and all the other American countries, except maybe Canada, most of the Eastern European countries are like America. If you look at the countries that are good at sanda, they're all poorer countries. Russia's not as rich as the United States. China's not as rich as everybody talks about how great China is. China's great, but if you get outside of the city, you're living in a third world country in China.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like, and that's, I'm not talking shit. This is the truth. That instills kids with a more resilient character because life is hard already. So their ability to suffer is greater than most American kids. And you take guys like Soren, right?
Yeah.
And from Brazil, or some of these dudes, they see martial arts, or the boxers in Mexico, the Chinese guys, the Russian guys, they see this sport is not only something they enjoy doing. Like I know Soren loves sanda, right? But it's also an opportunity for them to break out of poverty, that they can make money doing this and change their life. In America, that doesn't happen. You're not going to change your life doing sanda. You're not going to, I don't care who you are. You're never going to be, I won't say never, but at least right now, there's not one person in the United States that's a sanda athlete that makes enough money to live. It doesn't exist. There's no money in it. Same thing with MMA. It's the misconception about MMA. Everybody thinks there's money in MMA. There's not. There's not money in the UFC until you're a big draw. Like 99% of every UFC fighter that's ever fought has a day job. And if they don't now, they do now. You know what I mean? If they didn't have it when they were fighting, they do now. And so what I do with the kids, man, with Ari and with Mason is, and maybe this will help anybody who trains, like, or you and your kids, like, our job, bro, is to make these kids resilient. When the kids spar and they cry, I don't stop. Like, hey, keep going. There's no stopping. I know when they're hurt. You know, you get a kid taken down, you hear all the air leave their body. Like you can tell. But what it is those kids, just like humans, just like adults, they will look for an escape to escape the pressure that they're feeling, right? Oh, this guy's really trying to beat me up. I could act like I'm hurt and maybe they'll stop and I won't have to do it no more. No, that's not going to happen. And so for us, we're not hard on those kids. I mean, I'm hard on them in the sense of like, I demand a certain amount of resiliency. Yeah. And I think that like with kids, first of all, they're completely underestimated. In American culture, I can't speak on any other culture, but American culture, they underestimate kids. If a kid has to struggle today, if he has to have a hard time, if shit isn't going his way, if it's not easy, if he's not getting to play enough on his basketball team, if he's not starting in football or baseball or basketball, then somebody's being mean to him. That's not fair. We're all supposed to get the same. Guys, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Like, these kids, man, like Aria and Mason and these kids, we train them really hard. You know, I'm asking them to do the same thing we talked about with the adults. I'm asking a 7-year-old girl, just like Aria did her jiu-jitsu tournament the other day. I'm asking a 7-year-old girl to say, listen, I'm going to take you to this place. There's going to be all these people around. You're going to have to wrestle this kid you've never met before. Could be better than you, could not be. I don't know. You're going to have to wrestle this kid you've never seen before. They're going to try to pick you up, slam you down, squeeze you, pressure you to where you can't breathe. Then they're going to try to choke you, or they're going to try to break your arm. Okay? I need you to go out there and be brave. Don't go into fight or flight mode and lose your mind and not listen. I need you to listen to me when I'm telling you what to do. I need you to go out there and try to beat that other kid no matter what. I need you to not get nervous. I need you to not worry about all the people watching. And then I need you to go out there and kill this kid and be aggressive. Nothing about that. All those things that we require of them, not one of those things is present in a typical American childhood.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, people ask me or coach all the time, like, how do you get Aria and Mason to train so much? Like, I don't give them the choice. But that sounds bad. Like, oh, Cory must be yelling at Aria. No, man, it's all habitual, bro. You make it a habit. If you went and asked Aria, like, do you like training? She'd be like, yeah, I like training. It's like, you want to stay home and watch TV? She'd be like, yeah. Like, but for them, we've never had a fight. We've never argued about it because she started so young. It's like brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
Do you like brushing your teeth?
For life.
No, not really. Why? But it's what I have to do it. And that's what training is. So I don't have any, like Aria or Mason, they never say anything like, oh, I don't want to go to train. They don't, because it wouldn't matter. And I tell the parents, like, look, you don't do nothing for the kids. Like, you bring them to practice. If they give you problems, be like, hey, I'm sorry, man. This is what you got to do. It's just for an hour. You got to practice. You got to do something you don't want to do. Because God forbid your kid have to do something they don't want to do, because, you know, life is so easy that nobody ever has to do anything they don't want to do. Yeah. So, like, that for me is the most important thing. I don't care how good Aria and Mason or any of those other kids that train every day are. I don't care if they're world champions. I don't care. I don't care if Aria even wants to fight. But I do care that she's very good at doing things she doesn't want to do. And that fear, pressure, what people think, and the fear of failure, those are not good enough reasons to stop you from doing what you want to do. And I tell the adults the same thing. But in America, man, we're so affluent and everybody has so much money. Like, you know this, like, so one of the differences between me is I'm a little bit different than most Americans. My wife is from Mexico. The guy who gave me my black belt's from Brazil. Coach Lee is from Taiwan. My other Livingston's from Jamaica. Like, Alex is from Nicaragua. Like, I'm not around people. I am, but I understand how people live outside of this country. Yeah. You know?
And so, that's a huge difference. And I'm sorry, like, I know what you're talking about, because like you're surrounding for different cultures, and like what do we need to do to be there? And many, and you know what, you just said something, and I don't want to sound bad, but as a coach also, like, honestly, I got tired to train kids, but not because of kids, because of the parents.
Absolutely.
Because the ideas, you know, like, I'm sorry, guys, like, I need to say this, like, the crystal generation, don't do this. Oh, why he's sparring so hard? Oh, no. Oh, no. He's sparring so hard. No, don't do. Hey, come on, man. Like, this is a martial art. This is discipline. This is values. This is resilience. This is the difference between your kid to be someone, to be from the few or the many. And I think that's another thing, because like I can see here in the border damn, man, it's a different world, like different cultures. Uh, you like many people in the border, they want to pay like they live in US, but they want to pay as a Mexican, like hey, no, it's very expensive. Like, no, man, it's what we are. You are here, and you know, just starting from that thing, and 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 you're gonna have troubles at the future, because you can spend
Yeah,
hours and hours training them to be the best, but only one day one of the parents come with the idea like, oh no, this is very dangerous for my kid. He going to play football. Come on, man. You have
oh yeah,
more
football
you have
is
more concussions there than Sanda or any
oh yeah, it's by far the most dangerous sport.
man. And that happens a lot in my case. Like
Okay,
many
so
really good kids.
what do
And
you
then
tell? I'm just asking you. What do you tell the parents when they tell you that? I want to compare what you say, what I say.
like what question?
When they're like, "Oh, Edgar, it's just too hard for my son." He just sparring so hard. What do you tell
Okay. You can take him to karate.
them? I tell him like, "Hola, cómo está?" That's my Tio over there. So
Ah,
like, nah, man. Like I tell him, I go, look, I've had this happen a couple of times, yeah. And I say, oh, really? It's too hard. And they're like, yeah. I go, okay, look at those kids. Look, there's 30 of them right there. They're doing it. What's the difference between those kids and your kids?
yeah.
Is your kid weaker than those kids? Is your kid weaker than those kids? Well, no, but no. Then why are you trying to protect them, bro? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like that, and also like when it comes to the money thing, Edgar, man, if you don't want to invest in your child, I'm not here to invest in your child if you're not willing to invest in your child.
Yeah. Of
Because
course.
because parents like that, man, it doesn't matter how much you care about the kid, doesn't matter how much you want to help them. If their parents aren't invested enough to pay you what you say it's going to cost, it wouldn't matter, bro. You could train them for free. It's not going to work because if they're home, he's doing the same thing somewhere else. He's not investing in his kid. You know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
So
Yeah,
you're
of course.
losing the battle anyways, man.
Yeah, I
And
have
it's like,
different. I'm sorry. I have different answers for them. Like, I don't know how to explain in English because many of the
say it in
parents
Spanish.
speak
I'm
Spanish.
bilingual,
But
bro.
like many of the things is like, so why you bring your kid here, you know, like, and yet you're investing the return of investment in these years or future years, whatever, it's gonna be like he's gonna be a leader, man. Like if
Yeah,
you are showing like, hey man, this is very dangerous, you're making him like weakness.
yeah,
Like he gonna live under my mom or my dad, they going to defend my, like if I have a problem, they always gonna be there. Like, no man, life is not like that. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah. It's exact. I said the exact same thing, man. It's like all that is, bro. When you say like, look at all these other kids, they do it just fine. Oh, well, okay, your child's weaker. That's what you're saying. And if your child's weaker, then maybe you do need to take care of him. And maybe you do need to protect him. And maybe you do need to let him live at home until he's 33 because he wants to stay in your basement and play video games all day. But it's like, that's not what, like you said, it's not what we do here.
You know
Like,
what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna make a parenthesis here. We're talking about kids, and I thank God, and I know you too. We had really good fighters. One of the guys that I really love from your school is Gary.
oh, yeah,
Uh, yeah, the other like with me, Carlos.
yep.
And let me tell you this, Carlos is like I think your age, 35, if I'm not
Yeah, he's
wrong.
close to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very incredible because we come from Mexico, and we have that idea about like if you're here, do better, develop skills, whatever. When he started training with me, it was because he took his son to train with me, and then he was interested to
Yeah.
start training Sanda. He was like a 29, 30, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Man, he became one of the best USA fighter as well in the
Yeah. He
and
knocked out Brazil in PANAMS, bro. Head kick.
yeah man, like and but the thing is like he was working 2 weeks a week because he works in the oil fields in
Yeah.
Texas, and two weeks he trained 2 weeks a month, and it was really hard. And that's another thing, like the sacrifice, the resilience. And I won this. Like, I always talk to him like, hey man, if you really want to be there, if you really want to be in the late time fighting with the best, you need to kick your ass, man. You need, like, I know you train, I know you're working, I don't know, 12 hours a day in oil fields, and then you come here and you train maybe 2 3 hours because you need to go rest, because like, but man, just imagine, like, if you're going to represent your country in any war games, it's not gonna be not even the closest thing that you ever train in your life.
Oh yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah, it's hard, and that's what we're talking about. What would look the difference of those, like like us and the new generation. What is what is the what do you suggest for the new generation? Like, let's say the new generation, like we have the brothers, ah
Who?
the brothers
Oh,
in the
the
USA
Vincent
team,
brothers,
who the Mang brothers.
Ming brothers.
Like,
Yeah.
man, I really I respect, the discipline they have. Of course, they have a really good his father and all this, and I respect that thing, and they doing well, man.
No,
They doing really
they have
good.
opportunity to train full time.
Yes, yes. What is the difference? Like, what do you suggest,
The deal,
or
man.
what's your
The Ming,
advice?
yeah, the Ming brothers have what Ari and Mason have, right? They grew up in a gym, so like they grew up in a gym, so like they don't. For them, it's just what they do, you know. So they have that advantage. For kids, bro, you just have to do like what we've been talking about. You can't allow for. I don't allow for weakness. I
Yeah,
will be patient while you overcome weakness, but we can't allow for weakness. And so, like when you're talking about Carlos, it can be a little brutal for most people. You know what I mean? Like as far as like a lot of people, when you tell them like what we did or what Carlos has to do, when you talk about that kind of thing, like oh, that's so much. It's so hard. Yeah, but life is like this. You know, like what are we gonna do? Like how can we like what excuse do you want me to give you that it's okay to be weak? I can't make one. And it's like I tell the dudes like Carlos, right? Like I
yeah,
like and respect the shit out of Carlos. If Carlos makes the world team, right, and he fights in Dallas next year and he loses, and it's like, well, Cory, man, I train 2 days a week and blah 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 blah, and I have all these responsibilities. Hey man, I understand, right? And the thing about this is the part that everybody doesn't like. I think that the inherent weakness in I'm not talking about Carlos is this way, but for example, like let's say Carlos goes and fights and he loses, right? It's like, well, Carlos, what do you think? Oh man, I just don't get to train enough. You're right.
yep,
Because and I'm not saying he doesn't have good reasons, but I tell the dudes at the gym all the time, guys, fighting don't give a shit. You do what it takes to win or you don't. And I'm not saying you don't have really good reasons. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like everybody has really good reasons, but you either get your hand raised or you don't. This happens more in jiu-jitsu. That kind of bugs me is like they like, in jiu-jitsu, if you go and you compete and there's only 3 people in your division, you're getting a bronze medal, right? Because there's only 3 people. So you can go lose twice and get a bronze medal, and these guys will post their pictures on Instagram like, oh, bronze medal today at the Dallas Open. Like, yeah, no. Like, and
yeah.
so like
I
the
think the
deal,
same.
man, the deal is like fighting to be good at it is you have to take the ultimate responsibility for, I got my ass kicked because I didn't train right. I didn't train enough. I didn't have the right mentality. I was out of shape. I was fat and slow. I'm not strong enough for this weight class, right? Like that's something I had to get over is like I went up 3 weight classes because Casey and Gary and all these guys didn't want to go up, and Alex and Livingston. So it's like I'll go up. And so it's like I had to learn, like, it's not fair if you're not as strong as the other guy. But I knew that getting into it. Like, what am I going to do? Make an excuse? And the second you make excuses, all that does is accept weakness and defeat, and you don't have to learn from it because, well, I was, I work 2 jobs, Edgar, and I go to school too, and I have, I'm a master's student now, it's just like, yeah, that guy that kicked your ass, he doesn't care. You lost.
Yeah.
There's a finality to that. And Americans in particular, they don't like it. It's like, they don't like it. You want your son to win? Make him train all the time. Well, he still loses. Keep training. He'll start winning. You know what I mean? Like, it just takes time, bro. But it's not like what's true, right? Whether you did something or not, doesn't give a shit if it was fair. You know what I'm saying? Something can be true and be completely unfair, but it's still true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's something than what we do and how you educate kids in your gym. And that, I can't think of another instance where that works. Maybe school. You do enough, you pass, not even school, man. We both know that people make grades in school and they didn't do the work because they're getting passed through, or they pay college tuition and they're like, oh, just pass the guy. We need him to come to school next year for money. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that is the cultural rot and the cultural decline, if you want to call it that, of American culture. Is that, in my opinion, is that everybody's got money. Because shit, bro, I go to Mexico every year. I go to Cuauhtemoc, Chihuahua every 2 times a year. I go every year. I've seen kids barefoot kicking a can, playing soccer, having the best time of their life in the middle of a street. So it's like, man, excuses don't matter sometimes.
Yeah.
You have it's like I said, man, Carlos, for example, like, man, you got kids, you got a fucking hard job. I mean, I understand. But if you want to be a world champion and you can't do it the way you're doing it, then you got to change. I know it's not fair. And the truth is, and I tell the guys at the gym this, you can live your life in the way you want to live it to pursue your goals until someone else is responsible for it. Like, my wife supported me in everything I did, so that's great. If she didn't want to, if she's like, yo, Cory, I don't want you to do this. I want you to go work. I want you to just get a regular job. Stop this shit. She has a point. She has a point. You know what I mean? Like, she married me. Now, granted, she married me knowing this, so it would be kind of bad. But yo, you knew about, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
But I mean, if I can't train enough because I'm teaching the kids, like if I try to do worlds next year and I'm not training enough because I'm teaching the kids, and I'm not training enough because I got two jobs and I go to grad school full time, man, when I get my ass kicked, that's nobody's fault but my own. I can look around it. Well, I have to do so much. Oh yeah, the world don't care, bro. And it's like, go tell that to the kid go tell that kid to the kids in Mexico who have nothing. Go tell it to the kids in Brazil who are in the favelas and who have to go to like a social project to learn jiu-jitsu or to learn sanda, right? And like, it's just like, those excuses don't mean shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What else? Skipping on to other question, because what you're saying is it's the truth. Like, many people think in US we have all the opportunities and we have, and that's not true.
No.
We have, like, if we want to go, like, let's say, to war games in Shanghai or Russia, whatever, we need to pay, man. We need to work extra to pay, and that's extra stress. And as you say, hey, I'm not talking about, there's no excuses. I've been there, man, and you watch me fighting and like losing just for takeouts, and because my mind is not there. It's like, I want to do this because I love this.
No, yeah.
People don't give a shit about, like, what's Edgar doing after here. Man, I need to go back, run my businesses, my family, this and that, and I'm still teaching my kids because I love this.
Yeah, like,
they don't care about this,
It's like, you can have, like you said, man, we have really good reasons. Like, okay, here's the truth. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's the truth. You want an American to win a gold medal in Sanda? That's hard.
Yeah.
Like, the Taolu people always think it's easy, but they don't know shit. So I said it on this, but like, but like, the truth is, like, but every American has that same struggle in a way, right? Like we don't get paid money just to train. We don't get bonuses to go win fights. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, just like you said, the truth is, Edgar, is like, same thing with me, man. If I train my ass off is to the best of my ability, bro, if I got to fight Iran or China or Russia, I don't know, bro. Like all I can do is go out there, and I'm confident enough now that I can go out there, give it my best. I know I can perform to my ability.
Yeah.
But bro, it's not the same. I'm old enough to understand, like, it's not the same game. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a reason to not try. But again, if I lose, it's like, why'd you lose, Cory? Yeah, well, because I don't train as hard as that dude. You know what I mean? And that's my fault. If I really wanted to win, I'd quit my job, tell my wife, hey, give me 10 grand. I'm going to China for a training camp for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's on me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you're an American and you won the spot to go, hell, I'm the best you got. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, of course. You know, some like I was in Shanghai with the team, and I remember Alex fighting China, and man, I love this guy, man. Honestly, I respect Alex. Like, he did really good. China, taller guy, but man, like Alex, it was like I don't have words. Like, I can't explain everyone in the team what we felt. His parents, man, like his dad was in the corner with Coach Lee, and like, this is my last time in fighting Sanda, and just because of him, I say like, hey man, fuck it, man. Like, I still can do it, man. I'm 37. I don't fucking care if they remove a tumor. I'm going to do it again. If I lose, it's fine. Like, it's just like I have a lot of things in my past, you know, with the Tauro team in Sanda before in Mexico and this and that. But man, at the end, this is like, I want my kids, you know, and I think I now as a father, you know, as you as a parent, like, I want my kids like watch me maybe one last time in my life. You know, like, hey, like, I don't care, man. Of course, my doctor said, like, hey, man, you need to be careful because it's here in your head. But man, you need to be, of course, doctor. I'm taking all my risk and I'm taking everything to be there. But at the same time, it's like, hey, man, is this worth it? Because now you have kids, you have a house, you have this. But at the end, it's like the feeling, the experience. And it's like when I saw Alex fighting his wife, kids, parents, Coach Lee, like, man, Livingston, everyone, it was like we were fighting with him, you know, like we were like, you know, like Goku thing, like all the energy there. Like, man, that guy is amazing, man.
yeah,
Amazing.
dude. And that is what 99.9% of every person who doesn't do this will never understand.
Of course.
And so, like with Alex, man, Alex taught me a lot about myself and about confidence and how to like approach competing. But yeah, man, Alex, I mean, I watched Alex fight Muslim Salikov in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I watched but you know, man, Alex, dude, he really he inspired me, man, to be like, yo, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna do the best I fucking can. If I come up short, I come up short, but I'm still gonna do the best I can. Yeah. And that's like, man, that's the right way to do this. You know what I mean? Like, forget all that other bullshit. Just go out there and forget the pressure and forget that stuff. Go out there and do what you can do. If you come up short, you come up short, bro. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're not young anymore. There's another one, Max Chen, right?
Max,
man, I didn't like. I think I knew him in Canada in 2009. I was with the Mexico team in Tauro team, and I met Alex first time. We arrived to the airport and we went to the same taxi to the hotel and we were talking Spanish, and man, amazing, man. And I remember Coach Lee told me something like, Coach, so okay, I won bronze medal, but what's next, man? Anyone in US knows about Sanda? And I feel I felt like, damn, man, that's true, man. Like, I know, man. I know that feeling because I remember like in Taolu, I had better chances. And when I won the Pan Americans, when I won second place in the international event, and you came here and like, oh, you won, yeah. Oh, you do Chinese karate, like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's what it is, bro. Like, it's funny, and like, I don't know, dude. It is what it is. Like, you just gotta. But it's like, man, you have to go live, bro. Like, I think that's, yeah, going back to like, I think fighting for me, it taught me how that, one, you can't make excuses. You do something or you don't. There's a ton of good reasons for why you don't do it, right? Like, and sometimes you have to be responsible and say, hey, I can't commit enough time to do this. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it taught me more about myself in that I can suffer quite a bit. I can work my ass off, work 2 jobs, go to grad school, raise 2 kids, have a wife, and I can figure this out and I can manage everything, and I'm disciplined enough to do all those things. And I
Yeah,
think like
you missed
I
something.
oh, what's up?
Paying bills.
Oh fuck yeah, God, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
But like with the kids, man, all I want for those kids, bro, is to have that same resiliency, to
Yeah.
look at something and go, well, I'm not looking at a challenge to see why I can't do it. I'm gonna look at a challenge and see what I can do to do it. You know what I mean? And that's something that's just not, it's not around, man.
Yeah. What was, can we talk about like when the, I don't know if what was your feeling when you compete like in the USA versus China in China? Like what happened? Like I don't know if we.
Yeah, I was pretty young, so like I think the big fights, man. Again, when I look back on it now, I was just too young and dumb, bro. Like
Oh, how
I,
old you that time?
21. The first one was like 21, 22, something like that.
What
But
weight?
like
And which weight class?
75 kilos is 166.
35 kilos.
So I used to have to cut 14 pounds in a sauna to make weight. But
Shit.
like, yeah, for 4 hours. But like, man, I think, but the difference between me now and then, Edgar, is like I was super committed, super dedicated, but I didn't understand the game. I didn't have the experience or the confidence yet. Even though I thought I did, I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't think, I mean, Alex and Coach Lee taught me a lot about that, man. Like I can't understate how much Coach Lee and Alex helped me a lot with just like having confidence, going out there and doing it. Like go out there. Like Coach used to always say, man, go out there and show off, bro. Show off your skills. It's your time to show off. And what he means is like, bro, all the time we're training, this is the fun part. Go out there and try to beat this dude. Show off, man. Have a game. Make it fun. Make it exciting. Like, give him some attitude. Scare that dude. Fucking be aggressive. Go out there and beat him. You know what I mean? And before,
Yeah.
I don't think I really understood what he was talking about. And I think now it's like, yeah, bro, you should be calm enough to go do these things. And it's like Alex told me, he goes, Cory, man, I'm going to keep fighting until they don't let me anymore. So I can tell my kids, like, I think he told me, oh man, that way when my kids are older, hey man, your old man did it as long as he could. I never won worlds. I never did anything, but hey man, I won a lot of fights and I think I did some stuff that's worth being respected for. And I'm like, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I learned a lot from him, and Coach Lee helped me a lot. When I talked to him, and he was in my corner several times, and every time I remember, every time when I lose, like, Coach, what's my problem? Like, I have skills, I have everything, but what's my problem? You don't have a coach. Like, yeah, I need a coach. Like, I need someone to tell me what I'm doing wrong, and it's not about to be uh cocky or imbecile, whatever. I know many people talk shit about you, like oh, this guy, this no, I don't fucking.
Anybody can be, oh, you see Edgar got beat. It's like, yeah, do you have any idea what it's like to be up there? Like,
Yeah,
do you have any idea what it's like to do something that any moron can be like, oh, you got beat, huh? It's like, what do you do?
I remember the first time when I fought in US. It was with Mike Lee, and the man, this guy, like, honestly, I love that guy. Also, we have a good friendship, and I learned the different way, like, to fight in Mexico. It's a whole different I'm not talking about Sanda, but it's a whole different strategy. Like, I remember, like, I was 64.8 and he was 64.7, and next day he was like 72 kilos. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, he was like, next day, like, man, this guy is huge. And we had a good fight, and again, he pushed me a lot, but very, very hard to fight someone and just like to carry, like
The
man,
way,
very,
yeah,
very heavy. And then like I was like, okay, good. Like I learned different. I love this sport. I'm going to keep doing it. And then I remember I was coaching, and then I fought, and I remember I did the national judges course. I
yeah.
didn't I man, I didn't know how hard it is. Like
And then you
to
have to fight
cut,
later.
yeah, to cut weight, to to do the test, to prepare you guys, and then go up there like with no energy and just go out. Like damn it, and many things. And and I remember the last time I fought with one of the guys of Mackenzie's guys. Man, that time I fought with my ankle, and not excuse. I'm just talking my story. My ankle was messed up. I remember, and I went, and I told my student like, hey, look at me. I don't care. Like I'm going to do this for you, man. So you can see, like I'm your coach. I'm going to do I'm going there. I'm gonna fight, and I don't care if I lose or win. It's like the resilience. You need to fight, and you need to learn how to fight with pain, like you said before. Because
Yeah,
if you make the team, you're gonna fight maybe 4 fights to be in the gold in the podium. Four or
yeah,
five fights, and maybe in the first fight you gotta mess up your foot. In the second, you gotta mess up your hand. In the third, maybe you're gonna mess up your ankle, whatever. And for the gold, man, you're going for everything.
yeah, man. I mean, it goes back to the same thing, dude. Like you have to take responsibility for like yourself in that, like, but that's the deal, man. Like, and then we talk about all this shit, right? Like, and how hard and all these things we're talking about. But at the end of the day, I have to also remind those dudes, like, bro, at the end of the day, man, you're just hopping up on this thing and doing the same shit you do every day.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere. If I put a 2x4 on the ground and said, hey, Edgar, walk across this 2x4, you'd be like, all right. And you walk across it, there's no problem, right? But if I raise it 30 feet in the air, I'm like, yo, Edgar, walk across this 2x4. Well, it's like, but nothing changed but the atmosphere and the environment. And so, like, I also tell those kids that, like, sometimes, like, bro, it's just a fight, man. What's gonna happen? He's gonna punch and kick you? Ah, shit. They do that to you on Thursdays. So just go out there and go after it, man. Like, try to win. If you lose, you lose. But if you go out there and you try to be safe, he's gonna punch and kick you, right? Yeah. So you might as well fight because you're gonna lose anyways. Like, you might as well go try to win. And if you do that and you go out and you're aggressive and you try to fight, you usually will not get beat up. And if you lose, you usually just lose a decision, and you won't get hurt because that guy has to be careful.
Yeah.
But if you go out there and try to be safe, oh, he's going to get confident and whoop your ass because he doesn't have to worry about anything. Oh,
Yeah.
dude's not
Yeah.
trying to
Cory, what do you? I'm sorry. What do you think about what we need to do to develop more this sport in US? Like, how can we let's say start doing something like 3 competitions a year, 4 competitions, more stand-up fights? Like, how can we get more experience? Maybe not us, maybe the
yeah,
new
yeah.
generation.
Yeah, like you look at Coach, man. Coach hosts an event every year. That's one. Yang has got it going in Phoenix. He ended up having to cancel his this year. But
Yeah.
like Yang's got his thing in Phoenix, so that's about 2. Mark in Baltimore is trying to set some up. That would be 3. I think
Me too.
Vincent wants to do one. So like the truth is what's gonna have to happen is the guys like us, Vincent, all Livingston, me, Alex, we need the experienced guys who have gyms and the adults to start putting together events, even if it's just going down and fighting in your garage. Like, I mean, we need to start putting together events so that way it always keeps the guys who train, they have something to work towards,
Yeah.
and they're getting better faster. We're narrowing that gap between us and Brazil and all those other countries that have a lot of fights set up.
Yeah.
It also helps us the sport grow because guys are doing this weird kickboxing fight every other weekend down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, it's having events, and it's just having guys that are, I'm older now. I don't like the social media stuff, but like, it's also having Vincent's really good at that. you know, like having that social media presence and spreading what you do. And for me, it's ridiculous, but that's just the way the world is now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody's so interested in other people's lives other than themselves, but I don't know. It is that way. So,
Yeah,
but
man. And
man.
yeah, I'm looking for to start, making every summer like a tournament here in Laredo in the border.
Yeah.
Even San Antonio, actually. We're trying to find a way, but why in the border? Because I can bring more people from like Mexico and US, and you know what I mean, like
Oh yeah, it's better.
with experience. So like I'm trying to do something next year. I hope I can, because right now it's a little bit tough, with all this happened before with the COVID. But
I'm
many
just
people is I'm sorry.
inflation's crazy right now, bro. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
man. I closed my school, the big
Yeah,
one. Now I'm training in my garage.
it's hard, bro. It's hard out here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, like it's not. Yeah, it's been rough, dude. It's been a rough 3 or 4 years, bro.
Yeah. I've been like right now I just have 8 students, and they're young, and maybe four of them they are competing. Carlos is working right now. He's out of Sanda for maybe, I don't know, and because he got a new job, and for me it's like okay, I need to start working by myself,
Yeah, man.
because I need it. Like if I want to do this again or not, at the end it's like hey, I want to do it. If I can, fine, it's fine. But they going to fight, like I
Yeah,
would like to have another school, big one with the Lei Tai there and everything, but man, it's not possible right now.
yeah. I think for me, man, it's kind of like my most important goal right now is just making sure that my kid
Yeah,
and those kids that I train are like what we talk about. And as far as like me competing anymore, I'll compete in jiu-jitsu probably for a long time just because it's easy. That's right, I said it. It's not, guys, jiu-jitsu is not fighting. Okay. Like I love jiu-jitsu. I got a black belt jiu-jitsu. You go do a jiu-jitsu tournament, you get done, you go drink beer, have fun with your friends, even if you lose. Sometimes when you fight, you lose, you go to a hospital. Like it's not fighting. Okay. So like I'll always do jiu-jitsu to test myself and compete. I think in Sanda, man, I'm gonna try to do worlds. We'll see how it goes with my knee and stuff. And if I can do that, man, I might do what Alex did, man. If I can do it, I might do 2 or 3 fights a year, just the big ones, do nationals, do PANAMS, do nationals, do worlds. Because I think I have enough experience now to be able to perform. I don't need to fucking fight 25 more times to get over the jitters and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, man, I think it's good for you to always have something to work towards. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I,
And
I, I
that might change. Like eventually my goals will switch to those kids. Like, hey, I want to take 50 kids to this jiu-jitsu tournament, or hey, I want to take 10 kids to junior worlds and I want to medal. And I'm going to invest my time and energy like I was fighting and training myself into training and getting them ready. You know what I mean?
what's the difference? Like, okay, as a coach, what's the difference? Why? Well, we know why, but why people prefer more like jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or other than or MMA than Sanda?
Yeah, the people prefer jiu-jitsu more than the others because you ain't getting hit, man. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That's it. Like at the end of the day in Sanda, right? We bring a bunch of guys in that are older and we train them. We're not going to beat them up. We work with them and in sparring, we work with them and help them. Ain't nobody in there beating those guys up. But at the end of the day, man, you get punched in the face,
Of course.
and because there's so much impact in striking, right? You hitting the bag, hitting the mitts, kicking each other, doing drills. You're constantly punching and kicking each other. Bro, you get beat up a lot. Even when you go easy, you get bumps and bruises and hurt your knee or hurt your back or whatever the fuck. But in jiu-jitsu, man, you can go out there and roll hard every day and roll around and you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to have any bumps and bruises. And if you do, it's usually like, wow, oh, the guy headbutted you on accident. You know what I mean? Like it's very rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard and it's difficult and it's great for people to train. And I think it instills in a lot of people the same virtues that we're talking about. I think jiu-jitsu can make people as strong and as tough as all the things we talk about for kids and stuff. But competition wise, it's not the same.
And I'm talking about this because like if we compare like a Sanda competition with the BJJ competition, then there's a ton of people competing even in white belt, in jiu-jitsu and Sanda. Make out how many
Jiu-jitsu worlds, man.
people?
Jiu-jitsu worlds for blue belt, which is the second belt. and let's say they're 160 pounds, you might have to fight 22 times in 2 days to win. I know a dude that won 13 matches and didn't place.
Wow.
There'll be over 1,000 guys in your bracket.
Wow. Wow.
World.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's big. Like, but there's also a thing that I can say this about jiu-jitsu that separates it from fighting is a lot of guys that go compete, they never had a chance in winning at all. Because they don't train, they're not really serious, they just go do it for fun because there's no consequences. If you go do it for fun, the guy gets you tapped out. Oh, okay, let go. Not a big deal.
And you know what? But at the same time, do you remember? Well, I'm going to make this comparison. Last year, a guy remember the guy in Phoenix from he was from Turkey, I think. He was like a 40-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Man, that guy, Jesus Christ, really, he belonged to the Turkey team. Yeah, man, he fought. Damn, amazing guy, like 40-something-year-old, and he was like, nah, I want to fight, and you can see his body. But how many times you see one guy, 48, maybe 50-year-old in Sanda doing that? And in jiu-jitsu, you can see like people 60-year-old, 65-year-old, and they are like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But why we can do that? Like, why?
Because like I said, in jiu-jitsu, you can go out there and compete. You can train once a week, one day every 2 weeks, and go compete. And you might win a match or you'll lose. It's not a big deal because you're just going to get tapped out and lose. It's not a big deal. It's safe. You can't do that in fighting. You come and train one day every 2 weeks and you let one of them, you fight some dude who trains, you're dead. And it won't be easy and it won't be pretty either.
Yeah.
And so the difference is that one of them, like Worlds, bro, a lot of those dudes that go, I mean, I'm not trying to crap on anybody's parade, but the truth is none of them ever had a chance to go because they don't train enough. And they probably know that. You know, really, a lot of them are like, the same thing with me, man. I just said like, in jiu-jitsu, man, I'll just go to compete for fun. I said I was going to train 5 days a week. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing, man.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. Jiu-jitsu has a culture. if a lot of people listen to this and get mad at me, jiu-jitsu has a culture of losing. That's all there's to it. You have 15,000 people go do a jiu-jitsu tournament, right? Only 10 can win. There's only 10 weight classes. Only 10 can win. So 15,000 people lost. You go to a regular tournament like in Lubbock, there'll be 600 competitors. Everybody who goes to that event is going to lose, except the person who wins their division.
Yeah.
And then if the guys win their division, they can do an open class where it's like you can do all the weight classes together under one belt. Only one guy can win that. So you might win your division, but then you're going to lose in the open class. You're still going to lose. So losing's a lot more part of the game. In fighting, it is not part of the game. If you're a professional MMA fighter and you're 0-10, you suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and you know what? Like, I can see a lot of musicians, artists, whatever. They doing jiu-jitsu, and like, you know, this guy, the Venom guy, Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Man, right now he's like, oh man, he's a jiu-jitsu fighter, and like now he's like the dangerous guy in the movies. Like, okay,
it's cool. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it ain't what we do, man. You know, and like, but anybody who fights and does jiu-jitsu knows that. Sometimes people who do just jiu-jitsu, they don't know that. They think
and I'm not trying to, like, of course, any sport, you know, but like here in the border or in Mexico, they're the boxers, like the culture, you know, whatever. Here, I think the last, you know, to go into the last part of the podcast is I really want, that's why I create this podcast, because at the end my mission is like to spread this sport, like spread the words, like people from you, I hope one day Alex can join this podcast, Coach Lee can join this podcast, Livingston, Bruce. Why? Because it's what people need to know, you know. It's like, why Sanda? Like, Sanda is a big sport right now, and you can tell, like, there's a lot of Sanda fighters in UFC right now, Muslim, you know,
from China.
Wei Ling, a lot of Sanda fighters. I don't know why still UFC don't say like, hey, he's a Sanda fighter. No, Kung Fu fighter. That's why many people, oh, Kung Fu, yeah, traditional thing. No,
Nah,
no,
yeah,
man. I don't
man.
understand why.
That's part of it. Like that's one of the biggest hurdles Sanda has to get over. It's like the truth is at Worlds and the amateur side where you have Talu going on next to it, they consider it the same thing, and that's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But like what you're doing and what you're doing with this and like social media and stuff, that's just what people just have to find out about it, man.
Oh,
Like, and
man.
that's all it is. But
I really appreciate like you're here because honestly, it's gonna sound crazy, but this is like an orgasm, man. Talking to you and like, like, hey, man, this is fucking fun, and I always every national when I'm with you guys, and I always learn something new from you, and whatever thing, strategies, judges, whatever. I always said that I think we're a family, sometimes even if I'm from like a Laredo, you're in Lubbock, at the same thing we're doing the same, and we're having fun, and I know there's a lot of people who really wants to know more about you because man, you have a lot of story. Like you have you have nationals, Brazilian
yeah,
jiu-jitsu,
I get beat
you,
up a lot.
yeah, bachelors, masters, whatever,
I
man.
get
But
beat up
man,
a lot, man. I just
man,
keep.
yeah, you're doing good, and I appreciate that. I don't know if you have any like last thing that you want to talk about. I don't know any. If you wanna just, oh, I'm sorry. I would like to. Can you tell us about? You have a podcast because you're doing a research or something?
Yeah. So I work. My degree's in classics, which is ancient Greek and Latin, so it's a language degree. But I have a focus in civilization, so like I just read ancient Greek and Roman stuff all the time.
Wow.
Uh, and because I fought and stuff, I was able to like write some stuff and present. And so like I work with a research group at Tech that's headed up by this professor. And so like we have a podcast called Grappling with the Classics. It's on iTunes. And then Shane and I have one called Skipping Church, but it's not really sport focused. It's just crazy BS that we like to do. But yeah, man. So I like really kind of look at how wrestling in Western culture, which is going to be, from the Greeks all the way to
Yeah.
Western Europe, right? Like Spain, Portugal, England, France, all these people are part of a Western philosophy. So like, I do a lot of research and reading, and like I read a lot of Plato and a lot of Socrates and stuff, and like how wrestling probably played a role and martial arts played a role in their thinking, their culture,
Yeah.
and a lot of the things we were talking about today, whether people or know it, are probably instilled in Western culture because those guys wrestled. Like Socrates and Plato wrestled and did martial arts. And philosophers today like to forget that sometimes because they think philosophers then must have been like they are today, which are just kind of some dudes that sit around and talk and yes. But like truth is, yeah. So like,
Oh.
yeah. So that's it, man.
Oh
But
man.
thanks for being on, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, man. I love this. I know a lot of people gonna listen to and watch this video and listen in Spotify. If you can, I know you don't like social medias, but sharing your social medias, I saw
I'll
that you
send it to
sharing your.
you. I'll send it to you, and then you do it because I don't
Okay,
know how.
okay, I do it, or ask your wife. Actually, hey, say hi to your wife. She's a really
No,
cool
yeah,
girl.
thanks, man.
Hey, man. I want to say something, guys. This guy has one of the best kids fighters
Well,
in US, and honestly, I love your daughter, like with all respect. She
oh,
has,
man.
man, she's awesome. Like the
She just
way to fight, the way that the mentality that she have, it's like she's the best. And I always love when I go with her, hey, vamos lo mejor, and she speaks Spanish to me like, oh man, she's awesome, man. And that's
yeah.
a good thing, man. That you're creating a good, I think, you're doing a good job as a father, and I know as a coach, I know you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and man, you're doing great, man. I really congratulations, man, for your
No,
career,
thanks, man.
for
Thanks. And
everything you're doing right now, and I wish you the best, and I hope you can be in the World Games next year. I hope to be there with you, joining the team,
no,
and
I don't know. We'll see. Ask me like in April. We'll see. I don't know.
me too, man. But man,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you later. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
don't go. Just let me finish this. Guys, thanks so much. Thank you, everyone. If you have any question, please comment in below. You can text. You can text me, or you can find. What's your Instagram, man?
I think it's like CDA Cory CDAL. I don't know, man. I'll share it with
Is that okay if I post your Instagram there?
you. Yeah, you know how to do this, bro. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, if you want to train, if you're close, near Lubbock, whatever in the North Texas, you want to train good Sanda or good BJJ, please contact this guy, this handsome guy here, Coach Lee or Bruce. Go and train with them, and I can assure you that you're gonna learn a good Sanda and good fight. Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon, guys, and have a good night, man. Hey, don't go, please. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay.